Hi, guys. Welcome to the Sunday Talk Show. I am your host, Marlene, and this is the Sunday Talks program where I give encouraging, positive, and motivating stories of people who have been through some amazing journeys in their life. And today is no different. Today, our guest, Miss Tyheese Love, is going to be talking about her journey when it comes to malaria. So we're still waiting on our guests to come backstage, but I'm just going to welcome everybody to the stream. Hi, Boss Life Online, and hi, You Can Talk Your Way to Healthier Relationships. Welcome, guys. How are you doing today? Welcome to the Sunday Talk Show. And right now, I'm going to put up my banner here. Um, so today's topic is how Tyheese Love, how she almost died from malaria. So please like and share the stream. And if you want to donate to the channel, I've dropped my Cash App, and you can join channel membership as a way to show appreciation to the channel. The channel memberships on this channel are Boss Life Online and Bozo Calvin Jr. I thank them so very much. So if you guys could like and share the stream out, I would appreciate that so much. So I think I got my co-host here, Miss Tyheese Love. You guys just give me 1 minute, okay? Okay, I think my co-host is here. So I'm going to, hi, Miss Tyheese. I'm going to add her to the stream. I'm going to introduce her. I'm going to introduce her channel. And then we're going to get into the topic. So welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here for the Sunday Talk Show. I can't tell you how excited I am to have our co-host guest today. I just think that she's a wonderful woman, and I can't wait for you guys to hear her amazing story. So I'm going to add our co-host to the stream. Let me turn my camera on. Okay, and I'm going to add her to the stream with me.
Hello, everyone. So good to see you all. Thank you, Marlene, again for inviting me back. I'm so excited. Um, I always have a great time when I'm, on the show with you. So, and thank you all of your guests, for having me and
Yes.
just allowing me to share. So,
Right. Tyheese, I just want to tell them about you. You've just started your YouTube, right?
Yeah, literally, I believe it was Friday. I'm not even sure if it's all the way up properly yet, but I clicked on and I think you can click on and I think everyone can see it. I'm going to upload some content. I was trying to see if I could upload this show or connect it some kind of way. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that advanced yet. I'm still working on it. So I said, well, let me just go ahead and do it, and then we'll just see what happens. But
Right.
yeah,
So, Tyheese, I want to tell everybody, like, because earlier the backstory of this that you guys don't know about is the last time Tyheese graced us with her presence, we did a dose of positivity together. And
yes,
yes, and that was so wonderful. So if you have not checked that out, go and watch that one because that was a remarkable dose of positivity that we collaborated with. So in that, that's when I found out about Tyhese's amazing story about how she almost died from malaria. So I was like, hold on, I'm going to have you come back so that you can tell our audience all about that. So here you are today, and I really appreciate how you graciously have accepted the invitation.
Oh, I am just over the moon about how you have graciously asked me to come on and be on your show. I mean,
Um,
I'm over the moon. I really am. But
of
yeah,
course.
yeah. And back in 2019, I had the wonderful opportunity of going uh, with a group of people. It was 13 of us. We went to Ghana. That was my
Wow.
that was my first overseas trip. It wasn't my first trip out of the country, but that was my first overseas experience. And um, a trip to Africa was one of my bucket list things to do. And so um, when I got the opportunity, my husband and I, we jumped at the chance. The Reverend Honeywell from African Journeys had sponsored a trip. African Journeys, they were pretty. It was a pretty extensive trip. They came and offered a trip to Ghana, 11 days.
Wow.
Out there at Ghana, we went and we toured Accra, Kumasi, and Breno Beach, Ghana.
Okay.
Three cities in Ghana, and it was it was awesome. It really
Really?
was. We it was a vacation. Um, and it was we went also by the slave dungeons, well,
Mm.
enslaved African dungeons, um, where we got a chance to uh, see the where they when the enslaved Africans were captured. We found out that they were originally kidnapped, so their families did not even know that they were being taken away, carted off to the other side of the world. Families didn't even know. Um, and so we went and went and saw all of those things. We met some of the Ghanaians, the native Ghanaians. Um, it was just we stopped by the Kwame Nkrumah Museum and the Booker T. Washington Museum and Memorial as well. It was a really, really informative, um, wonderful experience, and I can't wait to go back. To be totally honest with you, um, and I got a chance to go. My husband and I and my brother-in-law went as
Mm-hmm.
well. It was 13 of us all together from my church, 13 of us, and we went over there in July, from July 5th through the 16th, um, back in 2019. And
Um, Hold on a
yeah,
second, Tyheese. You can talk your way. Says that it sounds like a trip of a lifetime.
it was. It was awesome. And like I said, I would go back again. But I could tell you all about that trip. I'm telling you, I'm still talking about it. But I'm here to talk about what had happened to me while
Mhm.
I was there on that trip. We went in July. July is the winter season over in Ghana. So their uh, uh, seasonal year is the opposite of ours. It's summertime over here, it's wintertime there. But Ghana doesn't have a wintertime the same as ours. They don't have snow. It gets cooler, but it doesn't get cold. Um,
Okay.
while we were there, it went down to a whole blistering 60 degrees at night.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were like, "Ooh, it's cold, it's cold." But it for us, we laugh. We're like,
It
"Really,
was
60
like
degrees is
that.
cold? Really?" You know. And so I mean, it wasn't cold at all, to us. And they don't have snow and things of that nature, but they have rain. So in
Okay.
their winter time, it rains. And it didn't even rain that much, but when it rained, like everything stops. Everything stops,
Hmm.
people don't want to travel in the rain, and again, we were like, really? In
Yeah.
rain, but anyway, but
Right.
it was wintertime over there. And so when we were preparing to go, we had to take the yellow fever shot that
Hmm.
is required in order to gain access to entry into the country. Um, we asked our, travel.
One second, Tyheese.
Sure.
You can talk. Is asking how hot does it get in the summer?
Oh, um, it gets in the summer. It can go over 100 degrees easy.
Wow.
But the even the summer, it's hot, but it's
Hmm.
it's not hot like here. Here we deal
Okay.
with a lot of humidity as well as the heat. There they have the heat. That's it.
Okay.
They don't have the humidity like that. Even though it was raining, it was not humid. It was not. In fact, we were outside in the rain, and it rains anytime, so you'll have a sun shower. We were out,
Hmm.
yeah, we were out visiting the what's called the Slave River, and we were there, and we were going to actually put our toes in the river, but we decided not to. And while we were there, we were, just looking and thanking the ancestors, because so many of them came to that slave river, and that was the last place where they washed and just before they got on the ships to
Hmm.
go across the world. And that was also the last place that they could recognize.
Hmm.
That was the last place on African soil, really, that they were before they got on the ships. And so you could feel it too. That was a very spiritual place. You can feel it. And while we were there, it was sunny and everything. And then all of a sudden, it just started to rain. And it rained like mist on us. It was like the ancestors were crying.
Hmm.
And it was just an awesome experience. But while we were there, um, it was wintertime. And because it was wintertime, we were told that, okay, only thing you need was the yellow fever shot, because that gives you permission to enter the country. Um, and that was all that you needed. And so we were like,
Hmm.
okay. Again, that was the first going going overseas, let alone Africa. And so I trusted everything that I was told from the travel agency. And so we took our yellow fever shot, got our passport stamped, and we were well on our way off to Ghana. And to Ghana, we also got a chance to stop in Morocco as well. So we got to see a little bit of Morocco.
Wow.
and we had an 8 hour layover, and then we went on into Accra, Ghana. And so, um, we're there. We had a great time. We're, seeing all the sights and, visiting all these places. And um, we had stopped to have some lunch, and we went into a restaurant out there. And while we were there, the food, oh my goodness, everywhere we went. I mean, the food is just delicious. I mean, I literally was eating my face off, like, you know, there was no
that would have been
stopping me.
me. That would have been
Oh
me.
my gosh. The seasonings in the foods and everything, it's like, like you just wanted to just keep eating until you passed out, maybe. But that didn't happen. Um, but I did eat a lot, and we were in this restaurant, and we were there eating. Um, uh, and while I was there, we were waiting. We had placed our order. I was there waiting, and while I was there, I felt something tickle at my leg, on my left leg. Um, and I was there talking and laughing. I had on a pair of capri pants. So they came just below the knee. And I felt something tickle at my leg, and I reached down and I just, smacked at it. I didn't even think about it. I just reached down and smacked at it, and and it stopped, and I kept on going. Later on that evening, when we came back in to our hotel, I went to lay down and watch TV, and my husband was looking at my leg, and he said,
Hold on 1 second, Tyheese.
"Sure."
Susie Q said she said something earlier. She said that she always wanted to visit Africa, and she says that this sounds so exciting.
Oh, you definitely have to go. If
You have
you
to.
get the opportunity, I mean, it's worth making the sacrifice and getting the money up to go. It is just, it is definitely a must for anyone, um, especially for those of us who are of African descent.
Mhm.
Definitely. I mean, I don't have all the words, but it's something that you have to do. When you go, and I don't care where in Africa, but Ghana was awesome, because it was just, when you go, you actually feel like you're home. You feel like you're home. When I got,
Hmm.
so I mean, definitely. And I hear that Ghana is a really nice first trip to Africa. Um, they speak English and Twi there as well. And so, we didn't have any language barrier thing there, and we were able to, speak with everyone. But we did have a guide. Um, uh, I can't think of his name. Nana, Nana, Nana was our guide. That was his name, and he was very fluent in all of the local dialects, even, besides Twi. So even if we, ran into a situation where there may have been a language problem, Nana was ready. He was ready.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it must go. I highly recommend, you find out someone's doing it. Try to get the monies together to go.
Yeah.
We went with African Journeys, and that was the travel company. Um, Even though, I went through what I went through with regards to the malaria, I would go all over again with them. They were
Wow.
very, very, very good. We we got we I really felt like we got our money's worth. It was very reasonably priced. I think back then we paid $3,100 for
Mhm.
11 days. Um,
Wow.
two meals included. Okay,
Mhm.
airfare included, and um, we stayed at two different resorts, and that was included as well. So, um, and it was worth every penny of it. Every penny
Right.
of it. So yeah, definitely, if you can go. But while I was there, I swatted at my leg, and when we got home, that got back to our resort that evening, my husband noticed that I had three welts right in a row behind my at the back of my left leg, um, like just under my calf. So my husband said, honey, something bit you. And I said, oh yeah? Oh, I didn't know. He said, looks like a mosquito bite. And because it was winter and we were told that we didn't have to worry about that by our travel agency, um, I didn't really think anything of it. Plus, I knew I had taken the yellow fever shot. So, that's
Yeah.
all I was worried about. I figured that the yellow fever shot would cover, you know, even any kind of mosquito or whatever it was that bit me.
Mhm.
Um, I wasn't sure it was a mosquito bite because it never itched me.
Okay.
If my,
One second,
sure,
Tyheese.
sure, it's all right.
Ruth is asking, what did her husband see on her leg in the hotel? Was it the mosquito that he saw?
No, he didn't see a mosquito. He
Mhm.
just saw it was three welts
Mhm.
on the back of my calf. He saw the
Okay.
mosquito bites
Oh, he saw the bites.
after, you know. And so I didn't really, pay it any mind. It never itched me. I just knew
Mhm.
that they were back there, and when I touched it, and I looked at it, yeah, it looked like mosquito bite, but it never itched. It didn't even swell. It just was there, and so I'm like, okay, and I just went on. I didn't really worry about it because I was like, oh, I'm covered by the yellow fever shot. So, and I carried on and continued on on my
Um,
vacation.
Tyheese, I gotta ask a question. So this is when
Sure.
you got back to the hotel, or were you back home?
When I got back to the hotel, we noticed the mosquito bites.
Okay.
When we were still out there on the trip, we noticed the mosquito bites, but we didn't. We wasn't even sure if it was mosquito bites because we
Oh
never
wow.
saw. We didn't see any bugs. We didn't see no mosquito. We didn't even see a fly. None of that.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I don't know how that got there, but you know, thinking back, I remembered when I did feel something tickle at my leg, and I swatted at it, but I didn't even put that together at
At
that
the
time.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then, we had a wonderful time. We came back here to the United States. We're back at church. I was here back in the United States for a whole month
What?
before, yeah, I was fired up, excited and everything. And I mean, I, I felt at my healthiest. I was there eating all that good food in Ghana, you know, and it was all, freshly cooked. They don't have a lot of processed food. There is like fast food. They do have that there. But we didn't go to any of the fast food restaurants. Like we
Right.
saw KFC and all that. We were like, we didn't come all the way to the other side of the world, to
Have
eat
KFC.
KFC, and so we ate, at the restaurants and at the hotel, and they freshly cooked the food.
Mhm.
At the Breno Beach Resort, we actually saw, because they would walk the chickens and the goats and the farm animals, because there was a farm not too far, walking distance from the resort we were at, and they would walk the animals
Wow.
around, and we could count, okay, there was 10 chickens this morning, and then they would come back around, like around 7 o'clock at night, walking the animals through, and it wasn't 10 chickens anymore. It might have been five, you know. Then the next
You ate
day,
them.
yeah, and they were delicious. Uh, you know, the next day we had eggs, and it was like, oh, okay, that's why it's only five chickens, because, you know, chicken had to sacrifice his life so that we could eat. But yeah, so I came back to the United States. I was here for a whole month.
Wow.
Didn't have any, didn't, I felt great, didn't have any symptoms, anything. I was at church and, you know, uh, just carrying on like I normally do. And um, it was the first week of August, first week, second week of August.
Mhm.
Um, we I was when I started showing symptoms, and my symptoms weren't even like really pronounced. Um, that like maybe Thursday, no, Friday, before the second Friday of the month, I believe it was. I went to sleep, and like I normally do and everything, and my husband and I, well, the way we sleep, when we turn over, if I turn to the right, he'll turn to the right. You know, he'll turn to the left, I'll turn to the left, like that, because that's how we sleep. And when my husband turned over, you know, he put his arm on, his arm touched me, and he felt that I was really feeling warm. And I'm knocked out sleep. I was like, I didn't have no idea. And he felt that I was so warm, he was concerned. So he woke me up and he said, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. Why are you waking me up? He said, you feel warm. You feel really warm, and he's feeling my head and feeling my back. And he's like, you're hot all over. You're feeling warm. Are you okay? And
What?
I'm like, I'm fine. I didn't have a headache. I didn't feel warm. He was
Mhm.
saying he thought I felt warm to his touch. My skin was warm, he said. I didn't feel warm. I didn't have a fever. I didn't feel it. I didn't have, I wasn't in any pain or anything. And so he said, well, why do you feel so warm? I said, I don't know. Maybe it's a hot flash or something. I don't know. But I
Mhm.
wasn't feeling warm. So, and I went on back to sleep, and, he went back to sleep the next day. Uh, the next evening, same thing. He turned over. He was like, you are on fire. Are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine. He's like, does your head hurt? Do you feel one? And I'm like, no, my head is not
So,
hurting.
Tyheese, this is 2 days. This has happened.
Right, 2 days in a row, 2 evenings in a row. The when I woke up the next day, nothing. Everything was normal, fine. If my husband didn't tell me that he thought I felt warm, I wouldn't have even known, because I slept and woke up feeling fine, no problem. I never felt any pain or anything, no discomfort, anything. So after the second night, my husband said, look, if we wake up, um, if this happens the third night, I'm taking you to the hospital because
Oh.
something is not right. So we went, went to sleep and everything. And again, I was fine, you know. And he turned over, and sure enough, he said I was on fire again. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. He said, I'm taking you to the hospital. That's it. We're going to the hospital tomorrow morning. The next day, in the morning, it was Sunday morning. So I said, okay, I'll go to the hospital with you, but I want to go to church first. That's all I want to do is I just want to go to church first. Then, we go to the hospital, do whatever you want. I'm good. So he was like, okay, we're going to go to church. So I got up to get dressed and I was feeling fine. I was feeling fine while I was dressing. I was feeling fine. I didn't have any issues. I get dressed, we get in the car, we pull up to the church, we get out of the car to go inside the church, and all of a sudden I felt weak.
Oh.
And so I said to my husband, well, come let me hold on to your arm because I'm feeling weak. Now, I thought that it was because I didn't, eat any breakfast. Sunday mornings, my husband and we usually do not eat breakfast until after the first service because we're deacons and we're there both services. And so after the first service, in between the two services, we'll go and have breakfast and then come back for the next service. So
Mhm.
I thought, well, maybe it's, I didn't eat anything. I don't normally, that doesn't normally happen, but I thought, well, I'm feeling a little weak. Uh, Once I, get to church and on the way to the hospital maybe we'll pick up something to eat. And so I didn't really.
Tyheese,
Yeah.
Tyheese, Susie Q says that's a good man. You had a good husband that kept checking on you and doing
Oh
everything
yeah.
for you.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's the greatest. That's my Mr. Love, for real. Yeah. He's and he knows me so well. um he knows me so well. And so we get to church and I'm holding on to his arm so that I won't fall. Okay. I felt lightheaded. And when I went to talk, because the ushers were right there, and they're not used to seeing me walk into the church slowly. And I'm my husband and I both, we're
Mhm.
really energetic people. We're bouncing up and down. This is 8 o'clock in the morning, and we're
Okay.
like, let's go. And they see me coming through the door with my husband, and my husband's walking slow, and I'm holding on to him. So the ushers, they ran to me and they're like, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I just want to go inside the sanctuary and you know, um, and take part in service." They were like, "You look terrible. You look terrible.
Wow.
What's wrong with you? What's wrong?" And I was like, I just want to go inside the church. And I didn't notice it, but my husband said that my speech started slowing down. So
Oh.
I thought I was talking regular, but um I was speaking very much slower. You know,
Hmm.
um like I said, I didn't notice it, but my husband said he did. As I was speaking to the ushers, he noticed that, like, I was speaking real slow to them, like as if, they were having hearing problems or something. So he noticed my speech was slower, had slowed. So then, but I was still talking, and so the ushers would not, they didn't want to let me in the sanctuary. They were
Okay.
ready to call the ambulance right there. Where I'm still at the front door, and they were like, you don't look right. No, you don't look right. No. And I'm like, well, let me go in and, catch some of the service. My husband is going to take me to the hospital. Um, but I just wanted to, go inside and worship. They were like, no, I don't know, I don't know. And so they went and got my husband, and they were like, she said you're gonna take her to the hospital after service. I think you should go now. And he's like, I am going to go, but she really wanted to go into church, so let's just go inside and worship. If anything, we'll come back out, and then I'll jump in the car and take her to the hospital. So he gets ready to go in. I go in and I sat at the back. I sat at the back,
So,
so that
Tyheese,
Mhm.
at this time, you decided to still go into the service.
Right, right, because
Okay.
I didn't think it was that bad. I felt okay. I just was a little bit weak. But once I got in, I sat down. I sat down in church for a whole maybe 10 minutes. And then next thing I know, the ushers came and they were like, we called the ambulance and you're going to
Ooh.
go with the ambulance. And they, you know, um, escorted me out of the sanctuary into the what is it, the chapel area, which is like, a big foyer, and so I'm there and I'm seated out there. There's a screen so I could watch the rest of the church service, but they wouldn't even let me watch because they kept, coming around. Are you all right? What's wrong? What's wrong with you? Okay, we're gonna pray for you. We're gonna pray for you. And they called all of the ushers around to come pray for me, and I'm like, where is my husband? Did
Yeah.
you talk to my husband? Where is my husband? You know,
So,
um,
Tyheese, at this time, was your speech still slurred?
it was slowing even more. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. So by the time the ambulance came, I was having difficulty where I even noticed in speaking. When I spoke, they were asking me questions. I could still speak, but I had long pauses in between the words. So they asked me, okay, what is your name? My name
Mm.
is Tyheese Love. And so that, and so they noticed that my husband had when they pulled me out of the sanctuary, my husband went to go get the car and bring it around front so that he could take me to the hospital. When he went around the corner to go get the car, another usher was like, "Nope, you're not driving. Nope, you're not. You're gonna go in the ambulance with her. The ambulance is here. You're going to go in the ambulance with her. Don't worry about driving. Leave the car right there. Um, in fact, you can leave the key, with us and everything, because we want you to have your mind on making sure your wife is okay. We don't want you driving,
Mm.
and everything. So, uh, when he comes back in the church, the ambulance are there. They're talking to me and they're writing down, things, what they think is going on. They thought that I was having a stroke.
Oh.
I knew I wasn't having a stroke, you know, but they checked my blood pressure. My blood pressure was excellent. They took my temperature and I didn't have a fever or anything. Excellent. Only thing was I was speaking really, really slow. So they put me on the gurney and they whisked me off to the hospital. So when I get to the hospital, um, they started asking me questions as my husband was filling out the paperwork and everything, and they asked me, what my name is and everything, and I knew that I probably should tell them that I had went to Ghana. I had traveled out of the country, so I told them, that I had went to Ghana, and I was out there for 11 days. So they were like, okay, Ghana, okay. So when they did blood tests, they did the blood test and tested me for malaria. Okay.
Mhm.
Even though I wasn't, they asked me what my symptoms were. My symptoms were very, very mild. I told them, my husband said that I was feeling warm at night, but I didn't feel warm. And the ambulance took my temperature. I didn't even have a temperature. So, and only thing is my speech is slowed down. I don't know why. So they went and they took the blood test. Sure enough, that thing popped up right away. So they knew that I had malaria.
Oh,
And so
so it popped up right away.
right away, right away. Soon as once if you travel outside of the country, they automatically take a blood test for you. They take
Mhm.
blood from you and they test it, for different things, And so because it was malaria, and that's a disease that, is not here in this country, the Center for Disease Control had to be called. And so the hospital called the Center for Disease Control, and only their doctors and nurses could um, uh, to care for me. Okay, not
Mhm.
even the regular doctors and nurses, because because it's a uh, disease.
It's a government.
It was a government thing, correct. Not only did the hospital had to call the Center for Disease Control, but they also had to call and report to the Ghanaian consulate and
Mm.
embassy to let them know that, okay, one of our citizens went over there. They got, malaria in your country, so we just letting you know. They had to report it there at in Ghana and here in the United States as well. So and they actually record that. So if anything happens, whenever you're traveling internationally, they do keep a record of every place you went,
Mhm.
um, and where in where you stopped at and everything. So when they called Ghana, the embassy at Ghana, uh, Ghana uh, went and checked with all of the places we went uh, to confirm where we went, so that if it was something that was contagious or um, something that was catastrophic, they could better pinpoint where I contracted
Right.
um, that disease and everything. And so they were prepared to do that. They had every place I went, they had it, ready right there. So in case if they have to let anyone else know, okay, you might have been exposed to something, but they didn't have to go through all of that, but they were prepared to do so.
So,
And
Tyheese, I
yes,
hate to interrupt you, but I got a question.
it's
So
okay.
you were the only one in your group of 13 people that actually contracted the malaria.
Yes, I was the only one that got bit by anything.
Mm.
Um, and when I let um the people at African Journeys, when I let them know, I let Reverend Honeywell know. He was like, "Really?" Like, you know, but
Yeah.
we didn't even see. We didn't even see a bug. Like, and I was like, I didn't see one either, but I do remember smacking at my leg, and he was like, well, all of the insects are in hibernation because it's winter. I said, well, that might be true for most of those insects, but one of them woke up and decided to have my leg for dinner. Okay, so there it is.
Mhm.
Um, And so once we, you know, the hospital established that I had malaria, they called in the Center for Disease Control, and we had to wait for the staff from the CDC to treat me. Okay, the doctors and nurses that were there at, it was Methodist Hospital we were at, they could not touch me. They immediately quarantined me, so that in case if I had something else in addition to malaria, because malaria itself is not contagious.
Okay.
It's not contagious. The only way you can get malaria is if you are bitten by the malaria mosquito, and it has to be, it's only the female mosquito that carries the malaria.
I
Okay,
did not
so
know that. I did
yeah,
not know that.
yeah. So it was a sister mosquito.
The sister did
She might
it.
have been hungry and she decided, you know what? I'm a biter sister, and she gonna understand, So yeah,
Hmm.
it was a female malaria mosquito that got me, and so I'm not even mad at her, because I had such a great time. I
Hmm.
wasn't even mad, but that's what it was, and so malaria also it's a parasite that travels in your bloodstream, and it moves in your bloodstream, and amongst your red blood cells, particularly. Um, People who are sickle cell anemic, they are immune to malaria.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Mm.
learned so much. I mean, the whole thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Um, and but they are automatically immune to malaria. Uh,
Hmm.
so it's something about the sickling, um, the sickle cell trait that the malaria, um, um, the malaria, it can't wrap itself around the red blood cells, the
Ty
parasite.
Tyheese, I got a
Yeah,
question.
sure.
Um, Boss Life Online says, a female. Laugh out loud. How can
Yes,
how can
sister
you
at that.
prevent? Yeah, sister. And she says, how can you prevent, from getting malaria? Is there a vaccine?
Yes, yes, there is a vaccine. Um, and they even have pills that you can take as well. But if you're ever going overseas, when you go to Africa, do look up and check to see what diseases may be in that region. Okay, the
Hmm.
malaria mosquito is not all across Africa. It's not everywhere in Africa. But certain countries, the malaria mosquito is prevalent. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, like I said, that was my first overseas experience. And so I didn't do that. I mean, we did research. We wanted to know what kind of foods they had over there. We wanted to know how we should dress. We were trying not to look like tourists. We thought we could blend in,
Hmm.
but we found out very quickly that the Ghanaians, they identified us right away,
Right away. Hmm.
right away. And I even, we had African clothing on and stuff like that. And I'm like, one day we had went to the market, and their market is huge. It's outdoors and it's huge. It's like
Hmm.
a large flea market, except they have everything, not just
Hmm.
knickknacks. You could, if you wanted to buy fresh goat meat, they had the freshly killed goat meat right out there, outside on tables. They had the fish, you know, um, fish. They had some of the fish still in the water, in buckets, and they would, you know, give you the freshly killed fish right there, or you had fish that was killed earlier, in the day, and you can go right to the market and buy all of that stuff. You could buy curtains for your house. You could buy everything and anything was there at that market. And
Mm-hmm.
on the when the market is open, I think it's open like 5 days a week or something like that. Uh Everybody just goes to the market. You don't go to the grocery store. We did see grocery stores, but they're not like ours. They're more like a variety store. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but and those are closer in the city parts.
Mm-hmm.
But in the rural part, people got up and they drove or walked to the market.
Okay.
And we went to the market, and we thought we looked like the rest of the Ghanaians. We had on African clothing, and they told us,
Tyheese,
yeah,
I got a comment right there. It says, once you open your mouth, you will be identified.
right. But
Yeah.
they identified us even before we opened our mouths. We
Oh,
walked into the market, and as all the vendors were lined up, place is huge. And where we first walked into the market, everyone, and we went there early also, because we didn't want to be in the crowds, because it gets really, really crowded, and we didn't want to get lost from each
mm-hmm.
other. So we went early, and we go in, and it was quiet, because it was early. And we come in, and the vendors there, they looked us up and down, you know, and they smile, they might even say good morning in Twi, and we would just, wave. We didn't really talk much because we just wanted to see the market. We didn't
Right.
want to spend a lot of time because it's a huge place and we wanted to beat the crowd. Plus, we had some other places to go. And so we came in and we got to maybe we walked past the third vendor. The third vendor,
What?
yeah. And it was a long, long, big open space of hundreds of vendors. We came by the third vendor, third table, and that table was small even. All of a sudden, we hear Black American, Black American, Black
What?
American, Black American, Black American. And
What?
they started chanting Black American, okay? And they were cheering us as we came in because we were Black Americans and they were glad to see us. And
What?
we felt like rock stars. You hear me?
Wow.
Yeah, it was totally unexpected. We didn't even know how to act, and they were like, yeah. After we started hearing them saying, we heard them say it because they were saying it low, because they were talking amongst themselves. That's Black American, Black American, like that. And then it got louder and louder, and they cheering and like Black American, yeah, it turned into a party, and we were like, really, we didn't know.
And you wanted to be inconspicuous.
Right.
You're trying to be like, no, no,
We
I'm not
were
going to buy
blending
anything. I'm not going
in.
to say anything. I'm going to blend
Right.
in.
We're gonna blend in. We're gonna wave, so that they don't hear our accent. But and so they're there chanting, and they're all trying to get us to come to their table and buy from them, because Black Americans have U.S. dollars on them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we had Ghanaian dollars also, but we we're tourists, and they knew it. And I was like, I finally asked one of them, "How do you know? How do you know?" I mean, I just knew I looked like one of the queens of Africa. I just knew I did.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I blended in nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "How did you know? How did you know?" And they told me, your shoes. Your shoes gave you away.
Oh.
And I was like, really? Okay. I on that day I had on sneakers and I had on Nike sneakers.
That was it right away because they don't
That's
have that.
Forget
Mm-hmm.
it. No, they don't.
Mm-mm.
They don't even wear shoes, like totally closed shoes. They wear sandals,
Mm-hmm.
open toe sandals. So the moment we had on closed enclosed shoes like
Yep.
that,
They said right away. They look at
right
your
away,
feet and be like,
there it
"Yep,
is. Yep,
there they are."
that's definitely those are Western shoes. Those are not. That's not from here. Okay. And we thought we were inconspicuous and everything, but they saw we had
Yeah, they
on.
was like, "Look at them, here they come."
Yeah, they were, and they were cheering us on. They were like, "Yeah!" And we were like, "Really? What you so excited for? Who you? Who? What is it? What is it?
I was like,
Because
I was like, "Oh, us?
yeah,
Oh."
that's why we were like us. They screaming and cheering like that for us,
Mm-hmm.
and that went on. We just kind of walked through, um, from one side to the other, and they cheered us all the way as we walked to the other side. And as
Wow.
yeah, they cheered us. And I mean, um, if you didn't know we were there,
You knew
people from
then.
blocks away knew that we were there. That's how loud they were
Mm-hmm.
chanting, and I mean, it was a moment. It was a moment. But
Yeah.
yeah, I got hundreds of stories from that experience alone. Just being in Ghana, it was just some. I'm telling you, do go if you can. Save up your money. Uh, do a GoFundMe page. It's definitely an experience to have. It really
Mm-hmm.
is. And that being my first overseas experience as well. Um,
Mm-hmm.
if I go anyplace else and I don't get the same response, it's gonna be like, nah, I'll go back to Ghana. You know, um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'm. It was beautiful, and it just was such a warm feeling of being accepted
Yeah.
and welcomed. I mean, they really know how to welcome somebody. I mean, we felt like rock stars. I'm telling you, we felt like
Yeah.
celebrities, and they treated us like that. The whole time we were there, they treated us like
Wow.
that. And it was like, wow, okay. But so now I'm back at the hospital, and
Yeah.
we
Hold on one second.
sure.
Susie Q is asking what year was that?
2019.
2019. And
Yes.
one more thing, Boss Life
Yeah.
Online says there would have been some good footage. She would have been dancing to the chant.
I'm telling you, I mean, we were so busy trying not to act like tourists, okay?
Hmm.
We were trying to be, demure. We were trying to be cool
Yeah,
to
very
we
and
yeah, we were trying to be act dignified, okay, yes, we are Black American. Yes, okay.
yes.
But
But
when we
your
you're
shoes.
right. It was the shoes. The shoes gave it away. Um, and it was something else. I mean, when we got on, because we had our own tour bus, even
Hmm.
we got on the tour bus, we just laughed, and because they even came out of the marketplace and was surrounding our tour bus, still chanting,
What?
"Black
What?
America, Black America." Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was something else, and we just laughed. We were like, "Oh my God, these people are they're serious. They're serious." You know, it was something else. Um,
Oh man, I wish you were vlogging then.
I
If
wish
I
I
wish you were
did.
vlogging because that would have
Oh,
been some good footage right
oh my
there.
gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I that's why I got to go back. Because
Hmm.
I didn't
They'll
even
probably
vlog,
notice you this time. Say, "Oh, I remember you from last time."
right? They were, there you are. There you are.
Here she
You
comes
know,
again.
really, but it was something else. It was something else. And like they don't wear shoes like we here,
Yeah, same
we got
here.
sneakers, Yeah, they and sandals all year round. You
Mhm.
know, it was winter time, and they had on open toe sandals because that
Mhm.
you know,
That's what they
and
have.
that's what they have. You know,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, but I want to go back to the hospital
right,
because you left us in suspense.
yeah, sorry, yeah. Um, I love it. So I'm in the hospital now. We're waiting for the CDC people to come. They get there, and then they had to examine me.
One question, Tyheese. How long was it from the time you got to the hospital to the time the CDC showed up? How long did that take?
The CDC showed up um, about 3 hours later because I got to the hospital something like maybe 9:30, and the
Mhm.
CDC showed up. It was lunchtime,
Okay.
and I hadn't eaten anything
Oh
all day.
boy.
I didn't get a chance to, get my breakfast like I normally do and all that. And so I was on empty. And so I'm sitting there. They told me I had to wait. So I waited, and I'm like, oh, well, they're going to get here. And then when they came, uh, remember, they quarantined me because they wanted to examine me for themselves to make sure that malaria was the only thing that I had. They established that I had malaria, but because I had malaria, they wanted to check and test me for other stuff, to make sure that I didn't bring in, any other kind of disease in the
Right.
country. So I had to wait, and even once they got there, they they well, I was quarantined from the moment that they um
When
found out
they
that I
found
had
out?
malaria. Yeah, what they did was they put me in a certain section of the hospital. Um, and so it was like it wasn't the emergency room. I came in the emergency, but as soon as they took that test and they found out, they were like, mm-mm, you have to get up and you have
Yeah,
to
you
go
got
over
to
here.
go.
Yeah. And so they put me in it was like a triage area, but it
Mhm.
was away from the general public, away from the emergency room area. And I was there with two other women. One woman she had a cough. She couldn't stop coughing. Um, and another woman, she was I believe she had it wasn't asthma, but they were testing her for something like tuberculosis
Okay.
because she had a cough. She didn't cough that often, but she had a cough, and so the two of them had coughs, and they were testing them to see what kind of cough they got and if it was contagious or not.
So you were in the same area? You had separate rooms, or what was
We
it?
were we were in a triage area, and we were spaced like maybe 8 feet apart from each other.
Oh, well,
So
that's not good because if they did have TB, now you would have had TB plus malaria.
exactly,
Like, what
but
is that about?
I know,
They
and
need to work on that.
yeah, the hospital did not have a sufficient quarantine area.
Hmm.
And so when the CDC people got there, they had us in this section, but the section wasn't sterilized, and
Hmm.
so there was dust in there, and so that was one of the reasons why the other lady that kept coughing, she kept coughing
Oh,
even
so they're
more.
not even cleaning that
Yeah,
joint.
it wasn't clean. So when the CDC got there, they immediately they just totally ripped down everything in that section and cleaned it. I mean, sanitized it right there in front of us. We there, watching them. They're spraying. and sanitizing stuff. They took the pillows and the sheets off the beds that we were on, and made us go into another bed that was sanitized and all of this kind of thing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, the CDC, it was
Mm.
something to see. They
I
came.
wish I could get CDC treatment all the
Oh my
time.
goodness, it was something to see. And they came in like stormtroopers. They came in, they all are dressed in royal blue. They had royal blue scrubs, and it had
Mm.
the CDC emblem on it. And they came in there and they just tore up stuff. I mean, we saw them pulling out pillows and flipping mattresses off the beds and cleaning stuff, and we were like, "What is going on? Are we in the dirty section? What happened to us?"
Mhm.
But they explained to us that the place had to be CDC sterile. That
Oh, okay.
we should not have been. Well, the hospital put us somewhere, but the hospital knew that they were going to sterilize the place, and they sterilized that waiting area for us. And when we were sent up to our rooms, they sterilized the rooms as well. So
Tyheese, I have a question for
sure,
you. So the people who were there that was supposedly had TB, did they have masks on and everything?
no, no mask. It was no mask. Uh, well, they gave the lady, the one that kept coughing, they gave her a mask eventually, but she had coughed her lungs out for a couple of hours before they gave her a mask. Okay, so if I was
I'm shocked.
susceptible to getting it, I would have got
You
it
would have got it.
100 times over. But um, it turned out that it wasn't tuberculosis. They tested her for it though. She had a bronchial infection,
Okay.
and so you know they were able to
Well, thank
calm
God
her down.
that's
Yeah,
what she had. Oh
I
my
mean, God,
God.
God was there, okay? Because, like, I was by that time I was feeling so weak that I wouldn't
And
have
you
been
didn't eat either.
right. That's why I was feeling even more weak. So I'm like, all right, she coughing her lungs out. All right, we just pray for her that she'll be able to pick her lung back up off the floor and use it.
Whew.
I mean she would and she was suffering, because you could see that she was trying, to stop coughing, and she couldn't stop. And turned out it was because she was allergic to the dust that was in that area, and the
Mhm.
dust was causing her to
To
cough.
cough.
So when the CDC started cleaning and spraying and turning stuff over, it made the dust rise,
Mhm.
and she started coughing even worse. So I'm like,
Mhm.
well, they had to pull her out of there because they were afraid she was going to go into an asthma attack or something.
Mhm.
So they pulled her out of there while they were cleaning, and then once they cleaned it, then they brought her back in. But and she was quiet after that. And so
Wow.
yeah, so I'm there and I'm waiting. Uh, they told me to wait. We had to wait for the CDC. The CDC is there. They're cleaning and turning over stuff, and I'm still waiting. And so I'm waiting, and I'm okay. It's just I was hungry, and I was feeling weak. Um, but I could still move, and if I had to jump up and run out of there, I was able to do all of that.
Mhm.
But while I was there waiting, um, I my speech slowed even more. I was
Oh.
still able to talk, but it was longer pauses in between each word. And so I was telling my husband, I said, he was like, your speech is really slow. I said, yeah, I don't know what's going on. I said that to him, but he had to like wait until in between all the long pauses, and I had gotten to the point where I couldn't speak at all. Like it was like something started happening. I was able to speak, but I was speaking real slow, and it went from speaking really slow to it felt like something was deleting the sentences off of my forehead. Like
Hmm.
I could think of what I wanted to say. I knew what sentence I wanted to say, and I would start to say it. But in between the pauses, I would forget the end of the sentence because it took me
Mhm.
so long to get the beginning of the sentence out. And it felt like I felt this like as if someone, you know how when you write a sentence or a paragraph and then you press the backspace on your computer and it just deletes everything. It felt like someone was pressing the backspace button and I could
Hmm.
literally see the sentence that I wanted to say. I can see it in words, and I imagined like it was going across my forehead because that's what I felt, and like a cursor was just coming and deleting the end of the
Wow.
sentence, and going backwards, going from the end of the sentence all the way back to the beginning. So I would get in the middle of the sentence and can't remember what was the next word that I wanted to say. And that was happening to the point where I couldn't even speak. I could think what I wanted to say, but even with me thinking of what I wanted to say, it was the big pauses in between the words,
Right.
and so I would as soon as I could remember the word, I would try to say it as fast as I can. So I was speaking like uh my husband's name is Kenneth. Kenneth, I am hungry, and he's like, because he's looking at me. It's still the slowed speech,
Mhm.
but I was a little bit more animated because I'm fighting to try to remember,
Right.
what the
What
sentence
to say?
right. And so he's looking at me and he see I'm there, I'm looking around like, trying to remember, and he's seeing my eyes and he's like, oh, yeah, because I did tell him something's going on. I can't remember the words back when I was able to speak, and just with the long pauses. So he knew, okay, she's having trouble speaking. And then when he started seeing me, you know, just like blurt out words like that, he's like, okay, she's fighting. All right, she's trying to figure it out. Okay, and so he would just look at me and like he it was like he could read my mind just from looking at
Hmm.
my eyes because I got to the point where I couldn't speak at all. Then it was like my memory was being deleted. Then I'm looking at him. One minute I knew that was my husband. The next minute I didn't know who he was. I did not know who he was, but I was thinking to myself, I don't know who this man is, but he's nice looking. I like him. You know, I'm so
You
serious.
didn't know you didn't realize that was your husband anymore.
Right. I didn't realize that was my husband, but and like I was having trouble understanding what the doctors and the nurses were saying to me, but
Mhm.
I could understand everything my husband was saying. His voice, my husband has a really deep voice,
Mhm.
and I love the sound of his voice. And at that time, um I could only understand what he was saying. he knew that I was having trouble speaking, so he would speak slow to me and give me a chance to think about what he's saying before he say the next word. And his voice was comforting to me. I didn't remember
Mhm.
who he was to me. The only thing
Mhm.
I know is this is a nice looking man and he could talk to me all day. Long as he talked to me, I'm gonna be all right. And he kept
Mhm.
talking to me, and so he would talk to me, he would tell me, he would repeat what the doctors and the nurses are trying to tell me because I don't know, I couldn't understand what they were saying. They were speaking English and everything, but it was like I couldn't understand. But him, when he spoke, I would look at his lips and hear his voice, and it literally calmed me down. So I would pay attention, and I
Mhm.
would, struggle to understand what he's saying, and I would understand it. And while I'm doing that with him, he's looking in my eyes, and it was like he could understand what I was thinking. So I would
Mhm.
think what I wanted to say, but I couldn't say it. I couldn't get
Mhm.
it out my mouth.
So
And
at this point, you were not able to speak.
no, I wasn't able to speak. And I'm waiting for the CDC people. They were upstairs, sanitizing my room and all of that. Um, and then they had to we were waiting for the malaria medication. While
Mhm.
we were waiting for the malaria medication, because apparently the hospital didn't have any on hand. Like they don't keep that stuff in regular hospitals because malaria is not a disease that's prevalent even in this country. So they
Mhm.
had to, I guess somebody had to go and, concoct it and then, put it in a sterile container, then ship it or get it over there to the hospital. So we had to wait for all of that.
Mhm.
And so it's now after 12. I'm starving to death. And my son comes. Uh,
Mhm.
my husband is there. I don't remember who he is. Only thing I know is he's a nice looking man. And for some reason, he keeps talking to me, and I could tell he was trying to help me. So
Mhm.
I was like, well, I'm glad for his help. Whoever this man is, for some reason, he's trying to help me. So I'm going to listen to this man. And I like looking at him, so I'm going to look at him. And so that's what I was doing. And I mean, my husband had on this dashiki top with some with matching it was a pair of jeans, but they were the colored jeans. It was a rust colored dashiki top with some rust colored jeans on.
That's
And
amazing that you remember that.
oh, I remember every bit of it. I'm telling you, it was something. And I mean, he looked so handsome. And he had his beads on that he got from Ghana, And I just kept looking at him, go, that's a really nice looking man. Wow. I wonder if he's married. And,
And you
this
don't
is
even know that's your husband.
right. And I'm like, yeah. And every time he went to talk to me, I I wanted to be able to tell, please keep talking to me. Just talk. Just talk to me. Don't shut up. Just talk to me. You know. It was one point where if I could have, I would have jumped his bones right there. I mean,
What?
yeah, I was going through some stuff. I
Oh
might
my
not have been able to talk.
God.
Yeah, I was like, "Ooh, that's a nice looking man. Look at him. Wow." And up there, and just looking at him, it entertained me. It also kept me calm, and
Mm.
it distracted me from thinking about whatever else was going on. I wasn't even worried about being sick. I just was
You're
looking at
just
this.
looking at this good looking man.
Oh my gosh, yes. And so my son comes. My husband must have, text my son or call my son. I wouldn't let my husband leave. I wouldn't let him leave because I didn't know anybody else. I barely knew him. You know,
Mhm.
he was the nice looking man that's trying to help me. So at one point, he wanted to go to the bathroom, and I didn't want him to leave. And so he was explaining to me, he kept calling me honey. I didn't even know my name. I had forgotten my own name, you
Mhm.
know, but every time he spoke to me, he would say honey. So then I thought, oh, my name must be honey. Okay, so I'm honey. That's my name. All right. I'm honey.
Mhm.
And I don't know what his name is, but he knows my name and my name is Honey. That's what I was thinking. So he would
Mhm.
say, Honey, I need to go to the bathroom now. I just want to go right over there to the bathroom. And even though I couldn't talk, I was like, mm-mm, mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mhm.
You know, I know you can't go to the bathroom, you know. Now I had to go to the bathroom also. I had to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't tell him that I had to go to the bathroom to urinate. So I was sitting there, and now I'm because I've been waiting a while. I was rocking back and forth like this, and I was still calm though. As long as my husband spoke to me, I was calm.
Mhm.
The parasite was traveling through my bloodstream, traveling to different parts of my body. And so while the CDC was sterilizing stuff and everything, some of the CDC doctors were also trying to locate where the parasite was so that they can inject the medicine in the area closest to where the parasite was to kill the parasite and stop it from moving. Because the malaria parasite it travels through your bloodstream and it goes to your muscles and your organs, and it can literally shut down your organs. It can, depending on where it landed at and where it decided to um, feed and erode the cells. And so the CDC doctors were trying to find out where the parasite was based on the time I got there and my symptoms. Now my speech, I don't have any speech at all now. So they're like, okay,
Mhm.
it's somewhere that affects her speech. Okay. So it must be somewhere, in her head. So they're trying to figure it out, and the doctors and nurses kept coming back and forth watching me and then reporting back to the other doctors that were trying to locate the parasite, what I was doing and everything based on my behavior. So I'm rocking back and forth, and I had to go to the bathroom. I couldn't say, oh, I gotta go to the bathroom. So I um tapped the nice looking man. I pulled on his shirt, and then I put my hands down at my crotch, you know, to let him know, like to try to let him know I have to go to the bathroom, you know, um, amongst other things that I wanted to do to him. But anyway, I tried to tell him I had to go to the bathroom. So um, it was crazy.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, no, it was like, hey, you, look right here. Yup, yep. But I was really telling him I had to go to the bathroom. So he knew that that's what it was, right? And so he goes, "You gotta go to the bathroom. You gotta go back." So he's trying to get the doctors or the nurse to come to take me to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And they weren't even in the room. So he's calling them. He's trying to motion to them, come over here, because I wouldn't let him leave from next to my bed. He had to be right where I could see him, right where I could grab him if I had to. And so he's trying to motion to them, come over here. She has to go to the bathroom. And he got their attention, but they were outside of the room. And so, he took a couple of steps away from me so that he can, point to them and tell them to come. And when he went to take a couple of steps, a couple of more steps, I got out of the bed and I literally grabbed onto his leg and like was holding his leg like this and sitting on his foot with my legs wrapped
Oh.
around my arms and legs was wrapped around his leg. So he couldn't move. He's like, honey, I'm just getting the doc. I'm just getting the doc, honey. Let me go. And I'm like, I ain't letting you go. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I got the nice man's leg. I like his leg. I like his leg. And I'm there holding on to his leg, and but I had to go to the bathroom. So I held on to his leg as long as I could, while holding my urine because I had to go to the bathroom, but I couldn't hold it any longer. So I let his leg go and urinated right there on the floor, like a few inches away from him. So he's like, "Honey, I was trying to get the nurse to take you to the bathroom, you know, and I was like, oh, well, it's out now. I couldn't tell him. I was just like, like, oops,
Yeah, well.
there it is, you know. But I did make sure that I didn't wet his nice shoes and his nice pants or anything like that because I wanted him to stay nice looking. Okay. So after I did that, then the nurses and doctors came and they told me get back on the bed. So I got back on the bed. They mopped up the urine off the floor, and I'm sitting there and I'm real calm. I'm still really calm. As long as the nice looking man was right there, it was no problem. So, um, the nice looking man was there, and I wasn't even ashamed that I had to urinate right there in front of the nice looking man. I was just like, well, whatever, there it is. And so I'm rocking back and forth, and I'm hungry, and all of a sudden I see my son come in to the area, and but I didn't know, I wasn't sure if that was my son. I His face looked familiar. I knew he was related to me because he looked like me. My
Mhm.
oldest son, he looks like me. And so I'm looking at him and I see he has my eyes, my nose, my mouth, and I'm looking at him. I don't know his name. I don't, I'm not, I don't know who he is, but I'm looking at him and he's saying, Mom, Mom,
Mm.
you know. So I'm like, okay, my name is Honey, but he calls me Mom. Okay, so then that means that he must be related to me. Like it still didn't register that that was my son. I just knew he was related to me closely because he looked like me. I His eyes were familiar, and all that. And he came with some food. So he had asked the nice looking man, um, he asked his father, he's like, did she eat? She's hungry. Did she eat? And so Kenneth said, no, she didn't eat. So my son had he had gotten me some blueberries, um, kiwi, um, banana, and some water. Okay. He has something else in the bag, but I think that they told him, you know, be careful what you're giving her to eat because she's in an agitated state. And so he put it on, on a plate or something and gave it to me and tried to give me a fork so that I could feed myself, but I couldn't feed I forgot how to use the fork. So I
Oh,
was,
your fine motor skills were going.
yeah. And so I'm
Mm.
I'm I'm picking it up with my hand, right? And
Mm.
I'm trying to put it in my mouth, but I kept missing my mouth. So my son saw it, so then he was feeding me, right? He would cut it up and then feed it to me. He would cut up the banana and put it in my mouth. and then put the next one in my mouth, the next piece in my mouth, like that. The blueberries, he would put them in my mouth one at a time. He gave me the kiwi, but the kiwi, he didn't take the skin off of it. So he put the kiwi piece in my mouth with the skin on it, and I started eating it, and I didn't like the furriness of the skin. And so I spit it out, and I remember spitting it out, and I didn't want the kiwi, but everything else I ate. And so my son is looking at me. He's really upset, worried, because he never seen his mother like that, and he didn't know what. He knew that Kenneth had told him that she has malaria, um, but something is going on with her mind. So,
Hold on a second, Tyheese.
sure.
Miss Full Roller says that she follows a guy on YouTube who contracted malaria while traveling to Africa, and she says that your experience with malaria is very similar to what he described.
Yeah, yeah.
Ah.
They what they told me later was that I had experienced a partial mental seizure.
Oh.
um I was supposed I should have it should have went into a full seizure, but
Mm.
a full seizure, I would have blacked out and passed out. I wouldn't have been alert. I would have been unconscious had I
Right.
went into a full seizure. But I was fully conscious of everything that was going on. Fully conscious.
Hmm.
I remember everything. I I didn't black out or anything, and the doctors were perplexed because they're like, first of all, she came in. I came in with very mild symptoms. So how did I get from slurred speech to can't talk at all? And I started hallucinating also. um i I thought there was a fly in the room, and so I kept going like this, because
Uh-huh.
I was seeing a fly. Nobody else saw it, I saw it, and I remember smacking at it, and I kept missing. And so
Mhm.
my son, after he fed me the food and everything, that's when I saw the fly. The fly came, after after he fed me the food, and he saw me like this, and he's like, "Mom, Mom, there's no fly, Mom." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah," and he's there like, "Mom, Mom," and I'm like, "Why is this person calling me Mom? My name is Honey. The nice looking man told me what my name," you know. And so
Yeah.
he's going, "Mom, Mom," and I would turn and look at him,
Hmm.
you know, like, what? What do you
Yeah.
have to say? Yeah,
Ruth is saying that it's unbelievable that everything didn't appear until a month after your trip.
yeah. The
That's
doctors,
that's incredible.
yeah, the
I think so
doctors,
too.
yeah. They told me, they said, you must have been in tip top shape, because your body was fighting the malaria back the malaria um parasite all of that time.
Mm.
And it wasn't until my body started getting compromised that I started showing symptoms.
Right.
But my body was fighting it, and giving that malaria parasite a run for its money. you
Hmm.
know um the doctors told me that too. They were like, wow,
Yeah.
really? And then
Hmm.
you didn't have no idea that anything was even wrong. Your body is fighting the stuff, and you know you're acting
Yeah.
like it's nothing. I know it was God. I know the whole experience was God. So I'm there smacking flies that aren't really there, but I
Hmm.
saw them. I saw them. And my son is looking at me and he's like, oh my gosh. You know, he didn't say it out loud, but I could see in his eyes that he was concerned. He was worried, but he was
Mhm.
trying to hold a straight face, you know. And I'm there and I'm looking at him and I wanted to tell him I didn't know who he was. I just know he has to be related to me because he looks too much like me, you
Mhm.
know. And I wanted to try to let him know I'm okay. Like I'm okay. I'm gonna be all right. This is whatever this is. It's going to go away, you know. But I couldn't speak, and so I couldn't tell him. But uh, my husband, he could look in my eyes and he can tell what I was thinking. I don't know
Mhm.
how he was able to do that, but he could tell what I was thinking. So he while Nairi was feeding me the food, my husband was able to duck out, go to the bathroom,
Oh,
and come back.
finally.
Yeah, because you know, I guess the food was a distractor, you
Mhm.
know, because I did stop looking at the nice looking man, you know, long enough to get something to eat. And um, he was, you know, he went to go to the bathroom. I didn't even see when he left, you know. So he went to the bathroom, he came back, and Nairi, my oldest son, he's looking at me and he's like, you know, every once in a while he would say, Mom, because he wanted to see if I at least, you know, could hear him and know that he's talking to me, you
Mhm.
know. And so he's looking at me and
So at this time too, you still are not speaking.
yeah, I'm still not speaking, right? So but I could think and you know I was alert enough and aware enough to know what was going on. So, but I couldn't speak, right?
Mhm.
So now, you know, after he gave me the fruits and everything, my energy picked up. I did not feel weak any longer,
Okay.
and it felt like my brain speeded up a bit, so I could think much faster. I can think in full sentences um, now, but I still couldn't speak. Right. So
Mhm.
and I could feel like, you know, my brain it felt like it got energized or something. So I'm
Mhm.
there. I got food on my stomach now, so I don't feel weak. I felt clearer, a little bit clearer in my mind. So now I can think, and I'm thinking in full sentences. So I'm like, okay, it's something's happening and something's coming back.
Mhm.
You know, I still, you know, I would look over at the nice looking man and he's still there. So I'm like, all right, long
I
as
say
he's
he's
there,
still there. I see
yeah,
you.
he's still there. I'm gonna give him my phone number when I get through this. I'm gonna give him my phone number.
Oh, you
You
got
know?
sassy
Oh
now,
yeah, man, I would look over at him. I'm like, just wait till I get it together. I'm gonna do some things to you. You know, um, yeah, he was motivation. Yes, he was. So my son is there, and he's looking at me, and he's like, you know, he want to cry, but he didn't want to cry in front of me, and he was like, "What is going on?" And he must have been praying or something, because he just was standing there, you know, looking at me, you know, and I didn't care that he was looking at me. I just wanted to make sure that the nice looking man, you know, is where I could see him and where I can grab him if I had to grab him. Um,
huh?
I did grab him a couple of times, you know, anyway. So to make sure he wouldn't go anywhere. Anytime he looked like he was going somewhere, you know, I would grab him like, you can't go. You can't go. Everybody else can go, but no, you can't
You
go.
stay right here.
Right. Because I don't know, somehow, you know, he was soothing. Just looking at him was soothing to me. Hearing his voice was soothing to me. And I knew that when I get over what was going on in my brain, he would be able to tell me what happened because I didn't
Mhm.
know what happened. Only thing I know is that my brain was acting crazy.
Mhm.
So my son was looking at me and then I think he had to go to the bathroom or he stepped out. He told me later he went to the bathroom to cry and get
Mm,
out those emotions so that he could look at me with a straight face. Um,
mm,
and he said seeing me that way, really upset him. And, he wanted to, scream on the doctors and say, hurry up, or whatever you're doing, because my mom is sitting here losing her mind, but he kept calm, or at least he looked calm, in front of
mm,
me. And so he gets up and he goes to the bathroom. Um, and I'm there, and I see the nice looking man. He's sitting down, right next to my bed. So, it was good. And we're just waiting. So then a nurse comes in and she says, she speaks with my husband, a nice looking man. And she says it out loud in front of me, but I couldn't understand what she was saying.
mm,
She had an accent. Um, I think it was a Czechoslovakian accent or something. I know she spoke with an accent, and um, she was telling my husband what she wanted to do. They felt that because I was in an agitated state, but I wasn't jumping around. I just was rocking back and forth in my chair like this. And when the fly came, I would, smack at the fly, but I wasn't jumping up, running around or anything like that. But I was just rocking back and forth, and but the doctors and the nurse felt that, okay, she's in an agitated state and it might escalate. So what we want to do is put a restrictive vest on her. So that way, if she goes into a real agitated state, she won't harm herself or harm anyone else. Now, I wasn't I wasn't bothering anybody. I just, as long as the nice looking man was there, everybody was safe. You know,
right,
um, I wasn't jumping up and down or anything. The coughing ladies, they had stopped coughing. They One was uh in the bed right across from me, and the other one was across from me, but she was over to the right. They
mm.
all of both of them could see me, and they saw
Um,
everything that I was doing. Um, and so they were watching me, and they were like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's wrong with her, but oh my gosh. I did notice that they stopped coughing, and that they were quiet, but I thought maybe the doctors gave them their medicine and that's why they were quiet. I was quiet also because I couldn't talk, but I just was rocking in my chair, so I mean in my bed. So the my husband was telling the nurse, um, you need to explain to her what it is that you're going to do, because she may not allow you to put a restrictive vest on her, especially if she doesn't understand it. He was like, I don't think she needs the vest. She's fine. The nurse was like, no, we're going to put it on her so that,
mm,
we can protect her from herself and protect her from hurting anyone else. So now the doctors and the nurses were afraid to really come up close to me, because they didn't know what I was going to do at this point. They were like, you know what? She's out there. We go too close, we go in wrong, you know, we won't, we might get attacked. Now, I wasn't thinking about attacking them, but I guess, from cases before, maybe,
maybe
people,
it's happened.
it's happened, and stuff. So I understood, their caution. But so the nurse went and got this vest, and gave it to, no, what came to get ready to put it on me. When the nurse left to go get the vest, my husband explained to me, okay, honey, they want to put a vest on you, okay? Just for a little while. They want to put the vest on you, and the vest um, is so that you can't jump up out of the bed. Okay, it's gonna hold you in place. All right. They don't want you to hurt yourself. They think you're gonna hurt yourself, or that you might accidentally hurt somebody. So they're
Mm-hmm.
just gonna put the best on you for a little bit. Okay. All right. So just let them put the vest on you. So I was like, okay. All right. So the lady comes and my husband, she takes the vest, the back of the vest had these long ropes on it. And so she takes the ropes and ties it to the back, the headboard of the bed. Okay. And she ties it real tight so that I could move because I was still rocking back and forth, but I couldn't rock all the way forward. It stopped, because I was, tied. The back of the vest was tied to the bed, and they put the vest on me, and the vest, uh, it had sleeves, and the sleeves would, make my arms, go like across me like this,
Mm-hmm.
So I'm there,
Basically, Tyheese, they put you in
a straight
restraint,
jacket.
a straight jacket.
It was a straight jacket,
Mm-hmm.
but they didn't want to say that
Oh yeah, because
because
that would make you react.
right. So they told me it was a vest, but I'm like, how a vest have sleeves,
Mm-hmm.
and why are you tying my arms up? So, but I listened to the nice looking man because I
Mm-hmm.
trusted that he wouldn't
That
tell
he
me a lie.
wouldn't say right.
So I let them, and they put the thing on me, and I'm there. I'm sitting with my arms tied to me like so, and I'm rocking back and forth slowly, and I'm looking at my husband and the nice looking man, and I'm looking at him like, Now what? What are we going to do next now?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the vest on for maybe about 5 minutes. So I had the vest on, and I kept looking at the nice looking man because I'm like, why they put this vest on me. So if they don't need to keep this vest on me, then they need to take this vest off.
Right.
And so, but I couldn't say all of that, but I was looking at him, and that's what I was thinking. And my husband, he literally, it was like he could read my mind. He after about 5 minutes, he said, he called to the nurse. He was like, look, either you tell her what the next instruction is, or you take her out of this, I take the vest off of her, because she's going to get confused in terms of why she has that vest on her, and she will fight. She will fight. I could see it in her eyes. I can see it in her eyes. And I'm sitting there, and I wanted to say, yes, that's exactly, but I couldn't speak. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I just nodded my head like, yes, yes, And so they took they didn't want to, but they were like, you sure? He was like, she was fine before. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't have something else for her to do, she's going to wonder why you got this vest on her.
Mm-hmm.
So they took the vest off. And when they took the vest off, I still was able to, I went back to rocking. And the nurse came back and told Kenneth what was the wait about, because now we're still waiting. And she said the doctors are locating where the parasite is. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they're almost there. So and the medication is here in the building, but depending on where the parasite is, that will determine how much medication we have to give her.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she told my husband in front of me. Okay. But there was some other stuff going on. They had already located where the parasite was. They knew that the parasite was somewhere in my head area. They just didn't know exactly where. And they needed to know where, or how, somewhere close, so that they could get the inject the medicine so that it would stop the movement of the parasite because
Right.
they didn't want it to go all the way into my brain. So they were looking for it. They knew it was in my head area somewhere, but they didn't know if it was um in the blood uh in the bloodstream that was going to my brain, or if it was in the bloodstream that was outside of my skull, but
Mm.
under my skin. So they were trying to figure out where it was, if it because depending on where it was, they would have to do different measures in terms of injecting me with the medication. So I'm sitting there now and rocking back and forth. I'm calm. I've noticed that I can think a little bit faster, but I still couldn't speak.
Mm-hmm.
And so now some more time has gone by, and I found that I started remembering at least one word at a time. So I started saying the word that I could remember
Mm-hmm.
as soon as I remembered it. So I was trying to pray. And so I started thinking Jesus, you know. And so as I'm thinking, I had to spell it Jesus, and then Jesus, And so I'm there rocking back and forth. My son came back out of the bathroom, and they're all watching me, and they see me going Jesus, Jesus, you know. And then I was trying to say in the name of Jesus. I was trying to say
Oh.
that, and because I know that that's a prayer, and so I'm going in the Jesus. And so my son, he was like, "Oh, mom is praying, so she must be coming back." Just a second, I see my computer is saying it's getting low. Let me just get the charger real quick. Hold on one second. Oh my gosh. I just need my charger. Thanks, son. Okay. Right. Thank you. Yeah, I'm still on air. Okay. Okay, I got my charger. My son tossed me my charger. But yeah, so yeah, he sees me there trying to I was literally trying to pray. Um but the words, as I remembered the words, I would just blurt them out. So he
Mm-hmm.
heard me there blurting out Jesus and in the name of Jesus, and then I couldn't say anything else, until I thought of the next word,
Right.
like that. And so I was there going, in the name of Jesus, Jesus, and so he said, well, that's my mom. Whatever it is that's messing with her brain, she's fighting. She is fighting it and fighting it hard. Okay. I'm trying to plug in my charger right quick.
Okay.
And I'm tossing over stuff. Okay. Let me just uh, stop trying to look at the camera and just plug it
Take your
in.
time, Tyheese.
And so, are there any questions while I'm doing that?
No, I just wanted to know, after that period of time, when did the CDC finally get there and all of
Yeah,
that?
okay. We're right there. So I'm there and saying in the name of Jesus, and then I was getting tired because I
Mm-hmm.
had been up all day. Now it's like maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon now.
Mm.
So I was there from like 9 in the morning until like 4 in the afternoon, and I had a little lunch, that fruit and and some water. And
That's not
so
enough.
No, it wasn't enough, but I was grateful for that because I was starving. And so then my the nice looking man, he's going, okay, where are you guys with this medicine? Because she's tired. I can see it in her eyes. She's tired. She's
Mhm.
here. She's fighting. She's fighting. She's tired. Maybe you can give her something where she can go to sleep,
Mhm.
and that way she can take a nap, and then that maybe everything will snap back after a nap. And so the doctors were uh telling my husband, well, we have her medication, we just need to know how much to give her, and we're afraid if we give her anything else that it will affect the dosage of the
Right.
medication. um and so we really need to know how much medication before we can even decide if she can take anything else. That's what they said to my husband in front of me.
Okay.
Okay. The truth of the matter was they were thinking about doing surgery. They knew that
Oh.
they knew that the parasite was in my head area. They even was able to pinpoint where it was. It was on, I believe it was on my left side by my temple. And but they didn't know if it was under the skull or outside the skull. And it was outside of the skull, but they
Mm.
thought that it might be under the skull. And so they was going to have to drill a small hole through
Oh.
my skull, and then inject the medication to stop the parasite, to try to keep it from attacking my brain. And so that's what they were trying to figure out. Okay, because if it's not under the skull, then we don't have to drill the hole in the head. If it's under the skull, then yes, we're gonna have to drill a hole in the head. That's basically brain surgery. You know.
Ooh.
So they were trying to decide, which one they got to do. When I was there trying to pray, and I'm saying, in the name of Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. I'm a I'm also a certified energy medicine practitioner. So I know how to do pranic healing. Um, and so I I was trying to figure out how to get my brain back. And so I was there praying, and I was praying in the name of Jesus, and I found myself getting excited or frustrated. And so to calm myself down, my I must have tried to calm myself down. So my son said I went into Om, the Om position. I was already seated on the bed, and I was seated on the hospital bed, you know, um, you know, um, uh, you know, uh, 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 like with your legs crossed, but your feet are
Yeah.
under you. Yeah,
Yeah.
that position. I was already in that position, and I've been in that position the whole time, rocking back and forth. My son said, first he heard me saying, "In the name of Jesus, in the name of Jesus," and then he said, he didn't hear anything, and then he said the next thing he knew, he said I was there with my hands in the three finger mudra, and I was going, "Om." OM. I couldn't say Om, but I could
Mm.
spell it. So I was going
Yeah.
OM, OM. And he was like, he said, he spoke to his dad and said, um, mom is fighting. Now she's going into Om. She pulling out all the stops.
Yeah.
I don't remember that part. I don't
Mhm.
remember saying OM, but he said, I don't remember getting into the three finger mudra and all that. He said, Ma, you were saying OM, and then finally you was able to say Om, and you were there Om. And so he said he knew that whatever it was, I was coming out of it, and I was getting more of my brain
Brain
function back.
function. Hmm.
And so my husband was telling doctor, she's tired, so let's get her something so she could take a nap, because she's been at this all day. Let's get her something. And the doctors didn't really want to give me anything because they were still trying to determine whether or not they have to do surgery. If they had to do the surgery, then they would have to put me under. So
Right.
giving me a sedative and then having to put me under, that would have, really been even worse, And so uh, they kept on, and my husband said, it could be mild. It could be mild, and that way that'll give you more time to locate where the parasite is, and she can get a quick nap in, because she's tired. And I really was. And so, um, my husband, he kept on telling him, give her something, give her something. She needs to take a nap. Just give her something. It could be quick. She just needs to take a quick nap, And so finally, they came with a mild sedative, um,
Wow.
but they were afraid to come and give it to me where I could see them. So they gave my husband the signal, and he was a very nice distraction anyway. So he started talking to me, and he said, honey, they're going to give you your medicine now. Okay. So when they give you the medicine, it might make you sleep, okay, so that you could take a nap. All right. And he's talking slow, and I'm looking at him. I didn't see when the nurse came around and came up behind me, and she injected me in the back of my arm here, and put the sedative in. I went right out. And
Wow.
yeah, I went right out. It wasn't even 3 seconds. I was out. And they let me sleep. I slept for 3 hours. And when
Mm.
I woke up, um, when I woke up, they asked me what my name was. I was able to tell them what my name was. I was able to answer every question.
So
My
now you could
mind,
talk.
yeah, I was able to talk everything.
Oh my God.
As soon as I woke up, I was able to talk and everything. So they were like, uh, and while I was sleeping, they gave me the medication also.
Okay.
Malaria medication. They gave it to me while I was sleeping. They
Oh.
injected me. They found it, and they found that it wasn't under the skull, but it was
Oh, thank God.
it was on my they thought it was by my temple, but it moved down and it was like behind my ear. It was in the blood cells behind my ear on the left side, and it was outside of the skull. It wasn't under the skull, so they didn't have to drill. So when I went to sleep, they were able to, locate it or something, and they found where it was. So then they gave me the an injection, and they said the first dosage, it went, the parasite went just like that. So they only gave
Wow.
me one dosage. They were prepared to give me a couple of dosages, but they gave me the first dosage, and they said not only did it knock the parasite out, but there it was no trace of the malaria left
Oh
in
my
my body.
God.
Yes,
I
yes,
got goosebumps now,
yeah.
Tyheese. I got goosebumps.
Right. When you have had a bout with malaria, malaria is it goes in your bloodstream, and the parasite leaves markers in your
Mhm.
bloodstream. So if anybody um, drew blood from you 10, 20 years down the line, they could look at your blood sample and they
And
could see
tell.
the malaria markers in it. So any doctor would know, okay,
Oh, she had
at
malaria.
one point in her life, she had malaria. She survived malaria just from looking at your blood.
Hmm.
And the doctor said that we can't find no malaria. We can't
What?
even find the markers. They were like, if we didn't see it when we first drew blood from you, we wouldn't have
Whew.
known that you ever had malaria.
What did
Yeah,
you
they were like,
say?
it's gone, it's gone. And so they
Ah.
they kept me in the hospital for a week though for observation because they
Mhm.
were scratching their heads. They were like, wait,
They want to know how it was done.
yeah, they were like, wait, we only gave her one dosage and the thing is gone. We got the other dosages, and it's gone. It's gone. And they couldn't understand. Well, if the parasite was outside of my skull, not touching my brain, how did my speech get affected? How
Uh,
did my short term memory get affected? So they were like, it wasn't, the parasite wasn't in the area that it should have been that would cause that. It was nowhere near it, but they were like, your body knew,
and
and
it attacked it.
right, my body knew that something was attacking it, and that's when I started showing the symptoms, and the partial mental seizure that gave them the clue of where it was, because
Whew.
I got to the hospital, they didn't know if the malaria was by my leg area, or because the bite marks was behind my left leg,
So
you
it went
know
from your left leg and traveled behind your ear.
right on the left side. And so it was moved. They didn't know how fast or slow the parasite was moving, because I had been back in the United States a whole month. So they didn't know, well,
It's a
that thing could have been
miracle.
anywhere. Yeah. And the doctor told me that had it gone, it could have went into the bloodstream that was going to the brain. And had it
Mhm.
did that, I would not have come back with all of my faculties. I
Oh
would have
my
been really, really,
God.
really messed up. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
And that the drilling of the hole through my skull, it would have been a very delicate surgery. It would have been very delicate because they have to drill just enough through the start,
Precise.
right, and not touch the brain. Otherwise, I
That's it.
could have been really messed up. Yeah, I could have died. And so they were like, "We don't understand how you had a partial mental seizure." And I'm like, "What?" They were like, "Yeah, because you were alert, but you weren't in control of everything."
See, but that's the thing, Tyheese.
I know
People don't
that's right.
understand that God does things and He works miracles because He wanted you to be able to know everything that's going on, so that you could give this testimony to
Yeah,
other people. Now, in
yeah.
hindsight, now you know that, but back then you didn't know why
I
you
had no
were.
idea. I'm like,
Yeah.
really? I mean, I just came back from the trip of a lifetime, man. I had so much fun. And to find out, oh, I had a near death experience, really. Like I was,
Mhm.
you know, but I'm grateful to God. I learned so much from that experience.
Mhm.
I am a mental health coach, and
Mhm.
and a practitioner. Um, and so I work with people that have mental illness, disorders. And it taught me something about people who have mental illness. It's not always that they have totally no control over what they're doing, or they're just out of their minds and out of control. No,
Mhm.
uh, they may have some control, or they may, you know, be able to articulate certain things. If I was not able to let my husband know that I could feel something going on with me that was making my speech slurred, you
Mhm.
know, my husband may not have understood what to do. And if my husband didn't know me well enough and to look at my eyes, and, you know, I didn't know until then that uh, he could speak our language, you
Right.
know.
You
But
can.
yeah, and I didn't know. I do know that, like, I am, pretty expressive with my eyes. Uh, my husband and my family tell me, like, I could be upset, I could be
It'll
mad,
be written on your
but
face.
because of this, whatever the situation is, I won't always say it out my mouth, but I'll give you a look. And
Mhm.
those who know me, that
Yeah.
look, they're like, oh, okay, she gonna punch me in my face after this is over. She gonna take me behind closed doors. She gonna punch me in my face. I know what that look means.
Yeah.
Even my sons, many times they know the eye language. When they were
Mhm.
little and they acting up, I give them the look, like, if you don't
Yep.
sit down, well, you know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen. Yeah. So they
Mhm.
understand the eye language. But my husband, um, I didn't know he understood the eye language to the point that he could read my thoughts.
Yeah.
And so I learned that. And I know that was God too, because I mean, he was saying everything that I was thinking. And so I'm grateful for even having the experience, because it it taught me different ways to deal with my clients and my patients now.
Mhm.
Um,
I feel
you
like
know,
this has made you a better person.
it really has. It
Mhm.
really, really has. And it increased my love for what I do, even the more so too.
Mhm.
Because now I just look at it differently. Being able to communicate with those that may, for whatever reason, are not able to, articulate with their mouth what's going on.
Mhm.
I can look at their eyes, and or
Mhm.
encourage them to, point or talk to me with their hands. Like, you can still talk to me, but you just got to find other ways to talk to me so that I can find out what you are experiencing, so I can treat or deal with exactly what you are experiencing,
Mhm.
and not just sit back and observe you, and then treat what I've observed, because that's
Right.
exactly what those doctors and nurses were doing. They were standing back watching me to try to figure out where the parasite was.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, that was good, but what if I
But
didn't have that partial mental seizure? They wouldn't have known. What if I was
yeah.
unconscious? They wouldn't have known where to look. They would have to put me
Right.
through a whole bunch of other tests. So I believe that God allowed that, and allowed me to behave that way to help them locate faster,
Yeah.
where it was.
Mhm.
But yeah, But
I believe that, Tyheese, that you're used, and your testimony just speaks to how God can use us as puppets. You know, we're puppets. He's going to say, "This is what's going to happen to you, and now that you've gone through this, now I'm going to use you to teach
yes,
somebody, and you've taught me and
yeah,
other
yeah.
people, and you've encouraged others as well."
I mean, I just thank God. I'm grateful to God for that. I even learned, and if I can help somebody, that's what I want to do. And
Right.
so I'm in a position now where I'd like to work with more autistic children,
Mhm.
especially those that are not verbal because of this experience.
Right.
You know, because they 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 may be communicating or trying to communicate with us, but because we all are, trying to, listen to them speak it verbally, they may not have that capability at their access.
Right.
But just because they're not verbally communicating does not mean that they're not communicating at all. It's just that
Uh,
we have to look.
all right, Tyheese, I want to interject with this because I work with all different kind of people, the elderly, special needs too as well, and another language is also body language. People
Yes,
communicate by the way they move. They move this way, like don't touch me. You know, people will talk to you without even talking. You can tell if you really tap into it.
it's true. It's true. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also believe that discernment will let you know as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, God will let you know. God had to let my husband know
Right.
exactly what I was thinking because I was not able to say it, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even point to it. Like,
Right.
you know,
But also, Tyhees, before even that, he was the first one to even tell you you feel
yeah,
hot.
right. I didn't
So
even know.
God used him for that too as well.
Used him mightily because I would have still been at home or
Mhm.
doing what I do and or working or what have you, not knowing that I had malaria. I
Right.
wouldn't know.
Mhm.
And the doctor said it was a good thing I came in when I did because the malaria parasite had traveled. If I had waited one more day, that thing could have
Yeah.
gotten to my brain. you know
Yep.
they would have had to carry me in there instead of me walking in. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just grateful.
It's a miracle, and
Yeah,
I'm so like I try to compose myself because I was thinking about your story before the stream today. I was like, I'm getting my tears out early, so I already cried. Because honestly, Tahis, I'm a very sensitive person. Those who know me, I'm very
I
sensitive.
I I picked up on that. Yeah,
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 I'm a very sensitive person. So things like this that me too. I also have a lot of times where I could have died as well.
right.
So I'm very sensitive to other people who could have almost died too. My spirit picks that up too as well. So I really thank you for sharing your testimony today, blessing us with this story, teaching us things about malaria that I had no idea
Yeah.
about. Mm-hmm.
um I didn't know much about malaria except that it was a disease. That's all I knew
Mm-hmm.
before that incident. And now,
Right.
yeah, malaria awareness, definitely. But there's a lot of material out on it, and but I just think that especially for first time travelers overseas, because you don't really encounter stuff like that when you are, on this side of the world traveling. So, like, okay, I've been to a couple of the islands and
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's their climate is the same, you know
Mm-hmm.
um Okay, they may have different insects, perhaps, but
Hmm.
you need a passport still to enter their country, and every country has different requirements in order for
Right.
you to enter their country. But because you're on the same side of the earth as the islands, the Caribbean, and things of that nature, their their restrictions are a little bit less, you
Right.
know. And so you don't go through all of that. So it wasn't until I went all the way on the other side of the world there, the other side of the Atlantic Ocean, actually, that you know I had to become aware of this. So I'm fully prepared for my next trip to Africa.
Right.
I can't wait. I mean, I was going to go again, 2020. I was
Right.
definitely going to go back. But
Hmm.
we had the pandemic jumped off, so it was like, oh well, okay, we won't be able
Yeah.
to go this year. But
Yeah.
I am excitedly awaiting when these travel restrictions can let up, and hopefully the pandemic will calm down or cease altogether, and I can travel, and I'm ready to go right back. Right back. This time, I'll definitely make sure that I take my anti-malaria medications.
Right.
You're supposed to take them, I believe it's 2 weeks before you
Hmm.
actually get on the plane. And
Right.
so, but like I said, the travel agency that we went with, they didn't think that it would be a problem because we
Hmm.
were in the winter season over there.
Right.
So they too learned some things
Right.
with regards to that. So um, they had another trip out there um, to not to Ghana, to South Africa, like 2 weeks after. No, yeah, 2 weeks after we came back, and
Hmm.
but they didn't say anything to those people. But after they found out that I had came down with malaria, they told everybody, all the trips that went out to Africa, because they had a trip to Kenya and South Africa during that same month, and they said everybody go get tested, just make sure, because we did have someone contract malaria, even though it was winter time over there.
Right.
So, and people went and got tested, and I and there was one other person that got bit that went to South Africa,
Hmm.
but they caught it very early because
Right.
because they got the information to go and get tested.
Hmm.
That was the last trip out in July, and I was in the hospital and had been diagnosed the second week of August. So
Hmm.
that person, they was able to jump right on it, and catch it.
Right.
So um, I'm grateful because
Hmm.
somebody could have died,
Right.
and because of that information, everyone is healthy, and
Hmm.
I hope ready to go back.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But
Well,
thanks so much for letting me share.
I'm so glad that you
Yes,
were able to be here and share this.
yes.
This has been so amazing, honestly, Tyheese. This is incredible. This is something that you need to be writing in a book and sharing this. No, really, seriously. If you don't, I'm going to get after you because
Okay.
people are after me to write my book. So I
All
can't.
right. All right. I'm
We'll
gonna
swap
need that.
ideas on how to make this happen. But thank you for sharing it with the
Oh,
audience.
no
I know
worries.
everybody enjoyed it just like I did.
Oh, thank you. Thank everybody for the questions and the comments.
Yeah, the questions in the comments
I
has been
love
wonderful.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love the exchange. And to hear how you all are thinking, and thank you all.
Yeah.
Uh, so you know, I'd love to come back. I mean, I
Yes,
have
we'll
so
come.
much
We'll talk
fun.
about something else because I heard a few other things in that I said, okay, we can go into that that
Yeah,
part next
yeah.
time.
Yeah. It's always a pleasure. Marlene, you are awesome. Okay.
Thank you.
I now have my own channel at your encouragement.
Yeah,
Um,
and I can't wait one day when you give me that invite. I'm
oh,
gonna
and
be
I'm
right.
telling you,
I'm gonna
it's
be
gonna be
right
soon.
there.
Gonna be soon. But
Okay.
thank you so much for
Well,
your
thank you.
example and for the work that you do. You're doing some awesome stuff, okay, and helping a lot of people. Thank you for making this platform open and available so that we can all
Hmm.
come on and share,
Right.
share our testimonies because
Hmm.
it's healing.
It is.
It's healing. It's something to being able to do that. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Yeah.
And you out there asking questions and everything,
Yeah, I'm out here doing my thing, Tyheese. I'm telling
yes.
you, I'm not the person like when I first started off with YouTube. I'm not the same person that I used to be. Now I find myself like, oh, did I just ask a question? Oh, that was kind of good. Sometimes I'll be like in my mind, making an analysis. I was like, that was kind of good. That was a good question,
Yes.
girl.
Yes, love it.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do. I mean,
Hmm.
I can't wait till I figure out how to have guests on the show. That's coming
Well,
soon. Don't worry.
I'll help you. You know I will.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And thank you all out there for tuning in. Um, as you can tell, I love to talk. And so anytime you got to cut me off sometimes because I'm just having a ball. Um,
Yeah.
and like Marlene said, I've been on before and I've had so much fun that I'm excited whenever she invites me back.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Because
glad that you could be here. And when I find out, I'm going to work it out some kind of way that I'm going to let people find out about your YouTube channel. We'll work it out and then I'm going to link it so that people can go to your channel and join it as well.
awesome. Thank you
We'll work
so
it out.
much. Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm I'm encouraged. I've been inspired to even try,
Hmm.
because especially after I've been on your show, I'm like, okay, I can
Yeah,
do
you
this.
can do it. Yeah.
I can do this. Okay,
Yeah.
my son Darius, he's like, Mom, you know, you can do Twitch as well, and I'm like, what is
Hmm.
a Twitch? I
Yeah, we're
don't
gonna
know.
talk, Thais. We're gonna talk about a few things that I'm
Okay,
gonna have. Yep, we're gonna talk
yeah,
off screen about some things that we're gonna do. So I thank you for
awesome.
being here.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right,
Okay,
all right.
Thais.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Marlene.
No
Enjoy the rest
problem.
of your Sunday. Take care
Okay,
now.
thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. Well, I thank Tyheese for being here. Her testimony was amazing about how she almost died from malaria. I know that you guys learned something. Thanks for those who are in the comment section. Those who are watching the replay, leave me a comment down below what you guys have learned, what you guys have been encouraged by. I thank everybody who was here, Miss Full Roller, Boss Life Online, Donna Marie, Edwana. You can talk your way to healthier relationships. For Nell, I know that Susie Q. I know there's probably some people that I've missed. Anybody I missed, I apologize. But I thank you all for being here. And before I go, I'm just going to tell you guys about my channel membership. I have channel membership on my channel. I'm so grateful for that. So those who would like to support me with being part of my channel, I'm going to be having another channel membership live stream really soon. So join channel membership if you're interested. I thank everybody who is here, and I can't wait for you guys to see who I have next week for the Sunday Talks program. I hope you've enjoyed this one, and tune in tomorrow for the dose of positivity. Thanks, everybody. See you next time, guys. Bye bye.